Hello and welcome to Rise and Shine with Alissa. I am your hostess, the consultress, bringing you conversations live from the front edge of innovation and creativity. I love to mix it up with other entrepreneurs and people who are investors with the mindset of goodness and expansion, and a little bit of irreverence. If you haven't noticed, I do not hang out with wallflowers. So it is my pleasure and privilege to introduce you all today to Sajad Husain. Welcome to Rise and Shine.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. The irreverence piece was very specific because I think the first time I met you was in one of your Zoom rooms talking about this room is not lame. This room is not for losers. I only hang out with people who make money. Like, he just said what we were all thinking, you know?
Yeah, it's funny. The word irreverent, Jim Schulman on my, I didn't know what that word meant a couple of years ago. And Jim Schulman, one of the questions on my survey is, how did you find me? Which means like at what location, what meeting, whatever. He put highly intelligent and completely irreverent. So I looked up the word irreverent. I was like, oh yeah, that's an accurate depiction, adjective to use. It's just causing problems for no reason. I'm like, yeah, irreverent.
Well, listen, so when I was growing up, my grandfather called me an imp because I'm a happy-go-lucky person, but I like to make playful trouble, not trouble that is disastrous or nefarious, but like playful trouble that has people enjoying their outside of the rut thinking or behaving. And I get a very similar vibe to how you show up, the words that you use, or, I showed up to a whiskey event and there you were. And we were talking philosophically about the meaning of what positivity was. And I remembered, your words that you used to like polarize and like poke fun was very different than my experience of who you were when you had thoughtful responses to people's dialogue. And to me, that was what gave me the open line to say, I'd like to get to know this character a little bit more because you're very well thought out and you had a poignant perspective on something that people are like, well, happiness means always getting what you want. And I think you were like, well, let's break that down a second. So I love that. Yes, you are highly intellectual and irreverent. So tell us a little bit about kind of what brings you alive, what lights you up in your work and your life.
Well, I have three thoughts on those thoughts you just said.
Okay, start with the first one.
Consciousness of one's consciousness. So my undergraduate's out of DePaul University in philosophy with a focus in ethics. So there's a field of study within philosophy called phenomenology, Dr. Edmund Husserl, which is the consciousness of one's consciousness. So there's a difference between living and existing. So I believe most people are existing. So they eat, they poop, they breed, they die, but there's another level of being aware of your existence, which is a trip if you do it all the time, especially. Secondly, there's attract and repel, and I got this from Donnie Boyven, who I don't think likes me, but it was his idea 2 years ago. So obviously people believe they want to attract people to them and their business, but I also believe it's important to repel. So you want to attract the right people and repel the wrong people. So if somebody's gets upset by curse words, that's not a good client for me or partner or not even somebody I want in my life, because I want to make money and I want to help people and I want to have fun. And I don't believe in censorship of any kind. So it's not just attracting, it's also repelling the wrong people. So 96% of people don't like me. The 4% of people that do like me are people like you, intellectuals who are fun and open-minded and interesting and conscious. Um, so it's both personally and professionally to attract and repel. And then the final thought for now is, when people take the time to get to know me, everybody loves me usually, or usually they love me. When they try to figure me out, they always hate me because I don't fit in the boxes of, like, there's a lot of people that get on my calendar and they're like, why are you meeting with me is the question. They'll say, I just want to know what this is.
Oh,
And I'm like, well, I'm not an it, but sure, you can find out what this is. So it's just marketing. Marketing, Andrew Tate said, celebrity is the new currency, right? So how many events do you go to and you never remember who those people are? All that matters is standing out, adding value, standing out, and attracting the right people and repelling the right people as well.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for the repel piece, because I feel like there's this whole body of work, positive psychology, and how to, frame things so that they're useful, which I totally can get down with. And then there's this like overreaching side of positivity, which is positivity at all costs. Everything's positive. You just choose to look at it that way. And I think that's a little bit of where people get led astray, is that, there are good things and things that we can learn from, for sure. Like the silver lining in a bad thing is that it gives you perspective and experience, and that either you do want to repeat it or you don't. So when you look at something like people will love me or hate me, and that's by design. One of my brand evolutions before I landed on the consultress, I was, compass rose development, developing your inner compass for success. And it sounded really soft. It sounded really airy. And I was getting people who wanted to be saved. So I had to say, like, okay, cut that crap out, because I'm not saving people. I'm building with people. So I need people to come to me with their boots on, ready to get dirty. I'm ready to build something. And then I was like, all right, so let's polarize this place, kick ass in biz, right? And I loved it for the fact that it was, I set up 2 goalposts for myself. They were things that I tried on, but like they didn't define me. Like you were saying about somebody trying to figure it out. When someone's trying to figure it out and put a label on it, they're trying to make a decision and shut down the inquiry. For me, it's all about, you win some or learn some. It's an Jason Mraz song. I'm pretty sure Nelson Mandela said it somehow, but ultimately, like if you can lighten up a bit and like stop taking yourself so seriously and needing to figure everything out, like that's where all the growth is. So when I arrived at the consultress, it felt a little bit kick-ass, a little bit mysterious, a little bit like, I don't think I understand what you do. I'm like, good. Then either you have to find out and see if you are fit to work with me, or it's like, you sound too much like a mistress. I'm not going to talk to you. Good. Well, you're not fucking qualified to work with me anyway. Right. So having branding that helps to polarize people, I think, is a really smart tactic, because yes, people are going to dislike stuff. And in fact, like, isn't that most of humanity? We're like primed to see what sucks. Thoughts?
I have 4 of them.
Oh my God, he's keeping lists. Go.
I take notes when smart people talk, I take notes so that I can listen to what they're saying and not think about what I'm going to say next. Not all money's good money. So I love my clients. I love my life. I love my friends. You joined my community yesterday, my online business community. All those people are dope, smart, hardworking, fun. George Carlin was not George Carlin for the first 7 years of his career. He was a regular static comedian, and then he, did drugs. And then he said, you know what, I'm just going to be myself completely. And then whether that fails or succeeds, I'm not going to worry about it. And then he became George Carlin because he totally quit caring. So I told that to a client of mine last week. I sent him the interview where George Carlin talks about that. And my client's in his mid 60s. And he said, this is amazing. I've made way more money this past week than I was making. And I'm having a lot more fun than I was making before, just being totally myself. Then there's the idea of professional. And I think, within critical race theory, that is a word that has, meanings to it that are unseen meanings. I think it's heterosexual, white, male, no cursing, a certain way of behaving, right? So, but I don't think things have to be that way anymore. I think that word should be re-examined in its definition of what does it mean to be a professional.
So, question from Cheap Seats. When you said the word professional, I think someone who attends a regular job for a specific role to be able to create career style money, in my personal definition, right? So when I hear, you said there was another definition out there, I'm curious now, like, has that word changed since I learned what it was?
I think it should change. I don't know. People say I'm unprofessional because I smoke and I curse, but
Oh,
I don't think that's unprofessional. I don't know. I think, I think the definition of the word needs to change. So do you have integrity? Do you keep to your word? Are you worth a lot more money than what you charge? Um, are you on point? That's being a professional. I don't think cursing makes somebody unprofessional, or smoking. It could be a bad choice, but that doesn't mean it's unprofessional. Um, so I don't know, just within the realm of attraction and repelling, um, what I do works. I think if anybody is just completely themselves, you'll attract the right people. I was listening to Love Radio. I do a lot of road trips. This is 20 years ago, and right before the radio cut out, one of the moderators in the panel on love said, "Be who you want to attract." So if you want somebody that work out. If you want somebody that reads, read books. So if you are what you want to attract, then well, you will attract what you are
Exactly.
if you are you. And if not, you're going to get people that hire you, and they're not going to be the right people. You're not going to be right for them, and they're not going to be right for you.
Yeah, so quick story about attract who you would you say behave how you want to attract, right? So I left corporate finance to chase the, entrepreneurial dream long time ago. I had been playing in the spaces, doing things as side hustles, but like made the commitment to leap off and build a business, build a franchise business, build out that with someone who was a CEO with a golden parachute, bought 3 franchises, needed somebody who knew business who could be on site. Anyway, long story short, in the endeavor of like following my own inner signal, like I want to wear sneakers to work. I want to be able to be with people rather so than behind a desk or, buttoned up professional, that was the way it was in my head. And in opening that gym with that person and going towards what I wanted more aligns with who I felt I was at the time, my husband was my first customer. He came in and bought my chairs. If you've ever seen the movie Phenomenon, where he goes and buys all Lacey's chairs, but like he invested in me because we were both on that time frame and on that like signature energy of like, you're being real, you're doing something for yourself. And the P.S. the guy that introduced us became our best man, but the rest is history, right? But in chasing what I wanted for myself, who I wanted to become, I was able to meet somebody who matched that and was able to resonate. And then, my life has been better for it ever since. So
Awesome.
yeah, we both needed to work out, and we both decided to double down on being in a gym together. And now we work out at home, but that's besides the point. So yeah, I love that. Be the person you want to attract in the world. Yeah, right on.
You are attracting who you are. That's what my LinkedIn post was about today too. If you have shitty friends, it's because you're a shitty friend. Don't be a shitty friend, and you won't have shitty friends. If you're a good friend, my friends are great people. Very, very good people.
And I also feel the same way. In business, I think a lot of people get it twisted that they have to create something, be someone else, and deliver extrinsic value for someone else to then validate who they are. And, listen, all of my growth came through the pursuit of being an entrepreneur because I saw something bigger than me that it gave me the magnetism to overcome my limitations. So now when I see other people out there saying, I help people do this, or I help with whatever situation this is, and I can feel them like squeezing their essence out of their body and popping way out to try to like peacock feather something, it feels really gross.
Yeah,
So
it's pretty easy to read.
yeah, so can you give us some tips on how you can kind of sniff something like that out? Because we've all hired people who were not a match for us because we were in that lack space of feeling like I'm not enough, someone else has to fix me, and then buying that kind of product fucking backfires and you don't get fixed and you wind up feeling worse about yourself. So how can we navigate, or how can people navigate in the wisdom economy, finding someone who matches them to move forward with?
Well, that's a can of worms.
Yeah,
That
it is.
requires a lot of thought. So, um, don't hire somebody who hasn't done what they purport to be able to help you do. So, if it's a social media expert, I had one of my clients refer a social media expert to me, an alleged one, and I went and looked at their social media, and I got way more views than they did. And I was like, why are you referring somebody to me that has less, that doesn't do as well as I do? So, have they done what they're doing? Like a business coach, consultant, should have at least had a successful business prior to teaching that thing. During law school, half the professors had practiced law and half of them had not. So when you asked a professor who had not practiced, what happens with this in court? They would say, well, it could go this way or it could go that way, because they didn't know the answer. The other professors who had actually practiced would say, well, it depends on the jurisdiction. You need to talk to the court clerk. And then, they'll tell you how it's outlined there. They would actually know what to do, because I had a law firm for over 4 years. I had a tech company that was very successful for over 6 years. So have they done it before? Can you talk to their former clients? And what do their former clients say? And then, what specifically are they going to teach you? So don't hire people. 95% of my clients have been ripped off by a fake consultant or coach prior to hiring me. And then 2 weeks into my program, they always say, wow, they didn't teach me any of this. And then they're like, why didn't they teach me any of this? I'm like, I don't know. Why'd you hire them? And it's usually they say, well, she was really nice. I really liked her. Or she made a lot of money. And I mean, I meet with people and they're like, yeah, I like you a lot. I want to hire you, but I'm in a coaching program right now. And then I say, okay, pitch me. And they say, well, we haven't got to that yet. And I'm like, how long have you been in the program? 6 months, a year. So when are they going to teach you how to clearly and concisely articulate massive value? Because I do that in the first 10 days with my clients. So what are they going to teach you and when? If it's not how to articulate the value of your product in the first 10 days, that's a fraud, because you can't make any money. Well, you can sporadically make money. You cannot consistently make money off your business if you cannot clearly articulate the value of your business. And then hiring the right people at the right times. So a lot of people think they need marketing and they don't have a pitch. They don't have a message. So if you hire somebody to market an unclear message, you're just wasting your money, because they can only do so much with what you give them. Garbage in, garbage out. So if you're giving them an unclear message to market, you're going to be marketing an unclear message, which is not going to make you more money. My last client wasted $20,000 prior to hiring me on marketing this year. And he, in 3 weeks working with me, increased his income by $35,000 and reduced his work hours by 68 hours a month. And now he's putting money into marketing because now he has a message. So, people are looking for the easy way out. They're looking for the funnel. They're looking for the magic pill. They're looking for the marketing, when really the problem is most likely you. It's your lack of consistency. Are you on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn every day? Are you doing podcasts? Are you doing presentations? Are you adding massive value everywhere you go? To add massive value means to say something so useful that people write it down. Are you creating an hour-by-hour schedule every night before with quantifiable measurements? So 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., you said you're doing emails. Are you doing 3 emails or 30 emails? Are you sticking strictly to your schedule? Are you admitting what you're doing wrong every day and improving? Are you hyper self-critical without taking it personally? So it's really about the individual. It's not, most likely it's not something outside of the person. It's a matter of having the right systems.
Yeah, and true story, because so I'm going to just back up a little bit to where most of us are coming from. And most of us are coming from an industrial age education, which is sit down, shut up, screw the screw. Oh, oops. I mean, sit down, shut up, and write down what's on the blackboard. And then vomit it back out to me. I'll tell you whether or not you're right. And then I get to determine your self-value. And so we have been like systematically trained from the time we're 5 until 18, maybe 20 something, that our value comes from the validation or affirmation of an outside authority. So I think, what I heard you say is, if you put into place mechanics, tools, techniques to foster your own interior authority, giving yourself validation and then seeking affirmation or confirmation from outside, that's a different ballgame you start to play, rather than always seeking fixes, etc. So, and I also love what you said about buying things that don't work. Like, I think the list of things and how not to purchase from experts is almost more valuable than how to find someone who matches where you are, because that's as unique as you are. But when okay, I'm just starting out in business, I just got off the phone with a low level intake client, not my high ticket offer, but, like an intro product. And by the time we were done with our sessions, they wanted to know where to go next and what to do. And I said, I think you're just starting out. You need to seek experts in your space who can help you to understand the value that you already know how to do. They were, coming from an existing career background and now becoming the entrepreneur. And what not to do is, don't go write a book, start a blog, all this other shit. Like, you needed to get really comfortable in what value you provide and who you provide it for. And if you don't know that and you just have all these ideas swimming around, it's like not having a North Star. You can't navigate if you don't have a North Star. And so many people, when we start business, are like, I need a website, I need a this, and I need to do that, I need to post on social. Well, so much of that is going to depend on why you're in business in the first place and what value it is you're providing. So if you're out there talking about ice cream and recipes and, you're a professional banker, like, wrong content, people. So, I love what you said about what not to do, because I think that's even more valuable when people are, either creating a pivot and moving industries, moving businesses, or, creating the next evolution of who they're becoming is, find out what not to do. Don't be afraid to find out what sucks. Then again, back to this whole positive myth stuff is, find out what doesn't work. Find out what hasn't worked for you, be honest, and then look for other things that, like, you can start to rule out so that your list of options narrows down so you can make an educated decision.
Again, you inspired a lot of thoughts. You inspired me, Alissa.
Thanks, man.
My favorite word is autonomy. It means self-governing, free thinking, and independent. The school system was set up to create factory workers. And luckily I was failed in second grade and labeled as mentally retarded. So after that, I really questioned the school system itself. I think it's because I was too smart and bored. As a child, I was rejected by society. So I moved from a lower income neighborhood to a rich white neighborhood at the beginning of the Iraq War. And the first day of school, they said, "Nigger, we're going to kill you." I said, "What's a nigger and why are you going to kill me?" And then I was jumped every day because my name's Sajad Husain and I come from a Muslim home. And I told my dad, well, first I told the principal and he said, "Don't start problems at our school." And then I told my dad said, "Don't start problems at the white man's school." So then I just got jumped every day for a year. And that was very good for me. I'm pro bullying because the rejection made me not care about what other people thought, society or individuals. I heard a lyric from, I was depressed and suicidal. I heard a lyric from Malik from A Tribe Called Quest, and he said, "If I don't say I'm the best, tell me who the hell will. You got to put your spirit first." And it changed my life. So I stopped concerning myself with outside anything, not just outside validation, outside acceptance, outside. I became not reliant as a survival mechanism, not reliant on my family, my friends, or society for safety, security, or acceptance. And that's been a big blessing for me.
Acceptance, safety, and security. Don't outsource your ass. Just saying.
Don't do what?
Don't outsource your ass. Acceptance, safety, and security.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you're reliant on other people, I just think it's childish, really, to concern yourself with. Cat Williams says it's called self-esteem, bitch, because it comes from the self. If nobody can affect how you feel about you. I mean, if you let other people affect how you feel about you, you're giving them power over you. Again, I think that's just childish. Why concern yourself? My accountant that I had a small business administration mentor. Well, I've had one for the past 30 years because I've been in entrepreneurship forever. And he hooked me up with this accountant that only worked with people that made like 10 million or more a year. And the guy brought me on when I was starting out because he was friends with my mentor. And I was the first year in business, I came a list of 15 problems I was having in business. And like 3 questions in, he goes, "You need to stop." He said, "Here's what you need to do in business. Make a lot of money." He said, "Sales solves all problems." So people are focused on all the wrong things when they're starting out. They just need to focus on make money. And people do what makes them comfortable. So they read, they research, they create and analyze. What you need to do is put yourself out there, get your calendar filled up, research before you meet with people, pitch them, incorporating your specific solutions to their problems in an interwoven way. Put yourself out there and pitch. Don't sit there thinking about what you're doing or reading, researching, creating, and analyzing. Sales solves all problems in business.
I love that quote. I love it, love it, love it. And I think I saw it on your page first. Sales solves all problems. If you're out there putting your name out there and offering, I just got off the phone with a client before we got on this call, and I was like, how many offers are you going to make? And they were like, it freaks people out to like be vulnerable. It takes courage to do that. There's no guaranteed yes on the other side. It brings us way back to our first dating, right? Oh, I'm gonna ask this person out. I like them. What if they say no? You still don't have a boyfriend if you don't ask.
I use that analogy all the time. So people pleasers, a lot of those people hire me and I have to get it out of them. So there's 3 reasons people pleasers will fail as entrepreneurs. They want everybody to like them. They never want to get rejected, and they don't want to make anybody ever uncomfortable.
Oof.
So it's about being a professional, that this is just business. It's not personal. If you like me, fine. If you don't like me, fine. And don't hire people because you do like them. Hire them because they are competent to help you achieve what you're looking to achieve. So I have a lot of people that work for me and do work for me. And not that I don't like them, I wouldn't necessarily date them or hang out with them. But they do good work, so I pay them money to do work. That's it. And it's not whether I know them, like them, trust them, or it's not all about the relationship, because there's really not a relationship other than a business one. I pay you money, you do a job. So you should be hiring people based on if they're competent or not to do the job, not whether you like them. It's just all messed up. It's bringing personal feelings into business. So it's not keeping business. Advertising versus adding value. This one's impossible for me to get people to understand. Nearly impossible, especially when I'm starting out with people. So go look back at your last 3 TikToks, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn posts. And is there something worth writing down in that post? Is there something somebody can learn by reading that post? Does it inspire action? If not, you're advertising. So if you're telling people about your free offer or your funnel or your stupid little book or whatever, you're not adding value to them. You're advertising. And nobody likes to be sold. People like to buy things. They don't like to be sold things. You don't start out with confidence. You start out with courage, the courage to try. And you fail and fail and fail and fail, and you gain courage over time. You have to run into discomfort. The number one thing you need to be doing with your business right now is the number one thing you're avoiding. So people have a tendency, this goes back to safety and security, to do the things that make them feel comfortable. Those are the things that they're good at, because the things they're good at are fun to do. You have to do all the things that you need to do, not just the parts that you enjoy.
Yeah, and this, yeah, eat that frog, right? Wake up in the morning and do the thing that you've been putting off, because you're going to feel better afterwards. Otherwise, it takes up mental real estate all day long. I'm still not doing that thing because I don't fucking wanna. And like, that's what it takes. Like the courage to just like eat the damn frog, do the thing that's uncomfortable, put yourself out there in a way that's going to make you feel maybe a little vulnerable. And just bringing it back to your people pleaser comment. Yeesh, man. I'm looking back at my history going like, yeah, I had to overcome all those things. I had to overcome everyone liking me because it was making me $0. I had to overcome, being accepted and liked by everyone because I determined, as you saw in my, branding evolution, that I wasn't fit to provide value to all people. I needed people who were in a specific mindset or a specific situation that were willing to take the next step and find someone who could help them with what they need. So, God, I'm like, oh, if I put on my like I'm not worthy hat, I'm like, oh yeah, I've been a people pleaser. Yikes. Is that where we are right now? Is this like people pleasers anonymous? Like I still have a part of me that is still seeking those things in my personal endeavors, but when it comes to taking, bold action and making your moves in this world, especially if you want to like create your own legacy or create wealth for yourself, you have to be willing to look at those things as obstacles, not as security blankets. And, it takes courage and it takes consistently chipping away at those things. So do I feel like I'll ever be done recovering as a people pleaser? No, I don't. It's like I will forever be addressing those tendencies and asking myself, why is this here? When did this show up first? So I can peel the layers off, and eventually I'm going to have much less of a percentage of that tendency. But I think a lot of times we want to feel like we're removing those tendencies and we're stopping that behavior, but that's kind of unrealistic. We're not machines. Again, that industrial age thinking tells us that we're a cog in someone's wheel, or that we're a piece of an assembly line that has a defined start and a defined end, and anywhere in between means you're screwed up. Bullshit. Like, we have to continually unlearn these things so that we can be successful, because my definition of success is, knowing what it is that you want and continuing to work through all the obstacles that don't work for you. At one point I thought success was having $1 million, driving a fancy car, and being able to wear a fancy pantsuit to work. That definition for me has changed over time. And I knew that I needed to live a more natural lifestyle. I knew I needed to homeschool my kids after I got certified as a human potential trainer. And I'm like, oh, crap. I'm outsourcing my humans. I now have the responsibility to change my definition of what a productive family is, because now I know better. So I need to do better. And if you're constantly looking at things that aren't working so that you can build the things that do, I mean, you're on the right track. So I love the way that you kind of build your philosophical approach. I mean, we totally differ on some of these, like how you work with people, because I I am the girl on the other end going, I need to feel a good connection to be able to trust people, and trust to me in business is like my number one core value. So, again, when you're out there resonating with people, their core values and what they deem important, if who you're hiring has similar core values, I find that to be a win and a more productive use of time and relationship than hiring somebody who, might be really great, really rich, but also like I can't stand being in their presence. That's going to be a bad experience for me, and I won't get the results that I want. So this is a great forum where we can have different points of view and come together and have inspired, amazing conversations, take courageous action. And so I want to thank you, Sajad, for coming here today and kind of giving us a slice of your world and a piece of your philosophy. I am really grateful to, kind of be able to wax philosophical with you and talk shop and then hang out. So where can people find you if they want to learn more and connect with you?
They can get on my calendar through my website, causeandeffectconsulting.com. That's the best way if they want to meet with me. May I address a couple of things you said, though?
I don't know. How much time do you have?
1 minute. 1 minute.
Okay, yes.
Hire people before you think you can afford them. Business
Yes.
advice I got 14 years ago. Hire people before you think you can afford them. Jim Rohn quote, if you do $10 an hour jobs, you'll make $10 an hour. So if you find that there's certain things that you should have been getting done and you keep procrastinating on them, just pay somebody else to do it, even if you think you can't afford it. And to the trust thing, I just think that those ideas get blown out of proportion. I think that people do trust that I have the solutions to their problems. It's just there's a difference between trust personally and trust professionally. Because for me, it takes 3 years before I call somebody my friend. It takes 3 years before I really know anybody. So if I trust you can do the work, then yeah, that's the kind of trust I'm looking for. But thank you
Yeah.
very much for the opportunity to be here.
Yeah, right on. We are here every single Monday, broadcasting, premiering live on YouTube, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss another episode. Click like, subscribe. Let us know what you thought in the comments, because I'm sure this is not the last conversation we will have here on Rise and Shine together, Sajad. So let us know what you liked. Let us know what you didn't like. Let us know what more you want to hear, because that is together we're better. And when we raise the tide, all boats rise together. And I know I screwed that up, but whatever.
Oh, sounded right to me.
Right on. So see you all next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. See ya.